3 a.m. in the morning.
That's hit to right field. Long run for Pilar. And Pilar all out into foul territory to make the play.
Bogarts with a drive out to right field. Judge is back on it, and that one's gone.
Against all odds. Here's a high fly ball driven deep to right. Verdugo back to the pen. Leaps up. He caught it. He caught the ball. He took it back.
And I will keep on waiting for a better day.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Pesky Podcast, episode 62. How you guys doing today? Joining me today, we have two somewhat familiar faces. One you've seen way too many times, and one you've seen only twice. So, starting with the guy who has been here way too much, Adam, say hello to the people.
What's up, guys?
And joining us also, host of Down to the Wire, second time he's on, from Bryant University, which, yikes. But Brian Costa, Brian, what's up? Hey, Dean is better.
I mean, yikes. Yikes is one way to put it, but I'm doing pretty well, man. How are you doing?
We're not doing too bad. So we have a jam-packed episode for you guys. And this is going to be kind of interesting because this is the first time I've had people from three different podcasts on the same show. Two guys who I believe you guys have known each other for years now. Me and Adam, who have known each other for 1.5 years, too many. And then me and Brian, who met like a month ago. So Adam is obviously the odd man out. Adam, you got anything to say about that?
I just got to say, I just started, so I'm just here so I don't get fined. So, like, just give me a break and, like, give me some time. I'm just a rookie. I'm just a kid. Just quit the hazing, and we're going to rock and roll. Watch, this thing's going to take off, and it's going to be glorious.
Yeah. Adam's 15 episodes in. Brian, how many episodes are you into yours?
I believe we did our 43rd episode this Friday. So
43, and I'm on 62. Mm-hmm. So
yeah.
Chugging along.
So
yeah, you guys deal with that how you will. But make sure before we even get started with anything, you guys go sub to each of these guys' podcasts because one talks about football and one is, Brian, more of a just all around sports show. Correct?
Yeah, we'll cover if there's a big enough story in a sports league, we're gonna cover it. Probably not soccer. Not really the biggest soccer guy. Just don't like the sport. But if there's anything going on in the major four American sports, you better believe we're gonna be covering it.
Mm-hmm. I got you. So let's get right into our first thing. LeBron owns us again. For anybody who was a Celtics fan, from the years 2010 to 2018, we know this pain all too well. Right? LeBron just turning us around and having his way. That's all I can go without being kicked off of YouTube. All right? He just turns us around and he has his way. And now it's official. He has officially owned us. So let me ask, what was the reaction for you guys when you first heard that news?
this is the most obvious punchline there is, that he owns a Boston team. Like,
hey,
I
he
just
owns the
knew
Raptors
that. Like,
too.
it's one of those things where the joke just tells itself when you see the headline. I saw it on Twitter first. It said LeBron James now partly owns the Boston Red Sox. I'm like, good Lord, this ain't gonna be good. Immediately I get a text from a Nets fan saying, oh, LeBron James owns the Boston team. I was like, oh God.
Yeah, I mean, apparently dunking on Jason Terry wasn't enough. I mean, he had to dunk on literally every Boston sports fan and just completely annihilate us. I had to. I mean, it took me a second because like you do look at LeBron and it's like, oh, like a really prominent basketball player now owns a team, but then it just hits you where it's like, it's just like, oh geez, like it's freaking LeBron James. Of course he did this. Notorious Yankees fan. I've said this on my last two shows at this point. If you wanted to know whether LeBron James grew up in the 90s or not, the man is like very openly, he's a Yankees fan and a Dallas Cowboys fan, where if you look throughout the 90s, you couldn't have had a more winning, like two more winning teams at that point in time. So I mean, I'm not trying to say again what kind of a person LeBron is in terms of being a sports fan, but you kind of have a clue when those are the two teams that he goes for the most.
Exactly. For us, we're all just diehard teams. We love our Boston sports till the day we die. All right, I don't care if Boston doesn't make the playoffs for 40 years. Every year you're going to see me repping some sort of Red Sox gear without fail. And I know it's the same for you guys, right?
I mean, 40 years,
100%.
man. That's a lot. That's a lot of time. But no, I agree.
Just ask Cleveland Browns fans.
What Cleveland Browns fans are you referring to?
Like, they all went away after 2018 or 2016.
Pretty much. Yeah.
What year did they go in 16? 2016?
Around then, something like that. I mean, like they have just been.
Deshaun Kaiser.
They were an abomination. I mean, they're Baker's is actually looking solid now. I think he has. I think if he officially has more wins than he does State Farm commercials. But it's pretty. Yeah, but I mean, so think the tide may be turning in Cleveland, but just for the longest time, whatever fans were able to stay with that franchise, God bless them.
Mm-hmm. Man, I feel so bad for them. But I mean, if you look at this move by LeBron on base surface, it stings us Red Sox fans. So we're like, well, okay, this dude has to own us some more. Mm-hmm. But if you think about it, right, very, very big name with obviously a ton of money, can bring in some good ideas. Could be a positive. Adam doesn't like that.
It definitely has its potential to be positive. And Adam, I'll let you take it on in a sec. But I guess since 2011, he already owned like 2% of Liverpool, and he's already been a part of Fenway Sports Group. So this latest purchase, because of the volume that it is, gets him in this position. And from what I'm hearing from a lot of people, at least from what I was hearing on ESPN, is that this move is kind of gearing LeBron up to eventually, have a full team ownership later on in the future, and maybe like down the line he approaches the investors at Fenway Sports Group and says, hey guys, I want to own this football team or this basketball team, and like I can bring you guys on board with it, and this can be another like ownership thing of Fenway Sports Group. That's what a lot of people think that this move is kind of setting him up to do. Now on ESPN they were saying something along the lines of he could then own a baseball team, and I'm just like, okay, that's illegal.
Please no.
And do you know why that's illegal? So again, I have a pretty decent baseball history, and I was kind of just like refreshing myself on it today. And the reason that this is illegal is because in like the 1890s, there were two teams. It was the Cleveland Spiders and the St. Louis Browns. Now the Spiders had some pretty good names on there. There was a guy on there. I don't know if you heard of him. His name's Cy Young. So kind of a throw around guy. He's kind of been around the league, but he was on the Cleveland Spiders, and their owner at the time, Frank Robeson, he ended up also he also ends up getting ownership of the St. Louis Browns at the time. And what happened is, because he owned both teams, he just turned the Cleveland Spiders into a feeder team. So any good prospect on that team immediately got shipped to St. Louis, and any bad player immediately got shipped to Cleveland, and they essentially became a major league version of a AAA team. That's the reason why owners cannot own like two of the same sports teams, because they fear that is just going to happen if that happens. So I don't know why they were saying, oh, you could just own another baseball team. That's not something that's going to happen. Whether it's football or whether it's basketball or even another soccer team down the line, that's well within the realm of possibility.
Mm-hmm. No, I completely get that. I just think he's going full Jordan route.
Oh yeah, no, 100%.
He's going to be sitting on the sidelines, like 270 pounds. Just sitting on the sidelines, watching the next generation, and being just a terrible, terrible owner.
Probably. See, it's one of those things where, like, yeah, like, to you guys' points, like, there could be a silver lining to this. He could bring some publicity. He's a generational athlete. Everybody knows who he is. He could offer some good ideas. Just the thing with me, as a diehard, stubborn Red Sox fan, I'm taking that to the
stubborn is an understatement, but
and Celtics fan, I'm taking that to the grave with me, and I can't bring myself to be accepting of this ownership by LeBron James. It's just one of those things where it's like you just don't. It's like taking on like Derek Jeter to become your shortstop, and he leads them to a World Series. It's just I'd love to. I respect Derek Jeter. I would love to win a World Series, but at the same time, Derek Jeter and a Red Sox World Series championship just don't mix well together with me.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, here's the other thing. There is a possibility that this could have some positive effect. And the only way that this could have a great effect is if LeBron, actually gets out and, it tries to be a voice and an advocate for free agents, wanting to come to Boston. Now, hate to say it, but John Henry isn't the most entertaining, most entertaining individual. So, he's probably not going to be the big draw here. I don't know how much LeBron is going to be involved with this. This might be the type of thing where he goes, I'm just going to divest some of my money and I'll see where it goes. And if it's not anything like that in a couple of years, I sell. But if he really gets into it, it could almost turn into what the Cam Newton situation in Foxborough is, where, a lot of people thought that Bill Belichick wasn't able to sell a lot of guys and get them to Foxborough. Obviously that's proven wrong now, but people were thinking that maybe Cam could be the type of guy to bring in free agents. I don't know how much LeBron will have how much influence he'll have on the team, but that is one possible look. I don't like that that's a possible look, but it's a look.
Hey, all right. Really quick, give your guys final thoughts on this. I will be right back. Hold on, just give your final thoughts. 2 seconds.
To your point, that about John Henry not being like the best, not being the most exciting owner. I haven't really loved ownership for the Red Sox in the past, like since he's owned it. I mean, he did help bring some renovations when he first took over the team. He did some good things that we're gonna remember about the Red Sox for the rest of our lives. Like, for example, he takes over the team when, like, 98, 2002, around he brought monster seats. So he brought monster seats into the Green Monster. The Red Sox won a World Series soon after. I just think it's gotten to a point now where he kind of sticks his fingers into team decisions a lot, and you can almost draw the comparison. You can almost draw the comparison to the NFL with the Dallas Cowboys and Jerry Jones, where, like, he has a great reputation, but I think he's a little overhyped.
Yeah. And the one thing I think you have to just watch out with for Henry at this point, I guess when that ownership group originally bought the Red Sox, they did it. They did it, and they originally said that they were planning for it to be like a 20 to 25 year ownership period, and then they would sell. It's getting close to the end of that ownership period, and I'm wondering if some of these moves that they've been making and all the stuff free agent wise, and cutting some bait with guys like Mookie and not re-signing him, could this be a sign of an ownership change like in the making? It's well within the realm of possibility, especially since we're getting closer to that 20 to 25 year deadline.
Mm-hmm. I think it all depends on what they do. Mm-hmm. Come the next 2 to 3 years, because right now I think we're on pace to be World Series contenders by 2023, 2024. Mm-hmm. So it all depends on where we go from there. If we're still a bad team come 3-4 years down the road, then I'd highly expect that. But if we become a competent playoff team, I really don't think so. But sorry I had to go for a sec. Trying to sell some merch here, people.
Oh, 100%.
All right. Adam's jealous. Look at his face. He's jealous. He wishes he can have a white T-shirt with the Fumblerooski logo on it.
You know what? Keep hazing. Just keep talking. I'll get back at you guys a year from now, and when I'm selling merch, when I'm famous, and when when Pat McAfee he mentions us and says go follow the Fumblerooski podcast, you guys are gonna be like, Adam, I'm so sorry we hazed you.
I'm not.
I mean, dude.
It's not gonna happen.
I mean, dude, if you ever make it onto the Pat McAfee show, and that ever happens, dude, I don't know what I'll do, dude. But
hey, he's 15 episodes in, and has never had a guest, so never had a professional athlete guest.
Well, that is changing on Tuesday. I will be on his show Tuesday. So
professional athlete guest.
I've had 2 guests on.
Okay.
Yeah, professional athlete.
Not professional athletes, but I've had 2 guests on.
Yeah, mm-hmm. By the time by the time I had my 15 show, I had 2. So.
Okay, Rob. Flex on them.
The NFL's a little different. It's easy to get prospects.
It should be so much. It should be easier.
It's easy to get prospects from single A.
It should be pretty easy to get some sort of college athlete on.
You'd think.
It's a possibility.
Either a college athlete or somebody who's the 53rd man on a roster.
It's a possibility. I mean, I'm just trying to. You also had a podcast about basketball on YouTube going before this. So I
had a show, so I was experienced with it. Yeah, I was
exactly. You have more experience. I'm starting with the Fumbler. This is This is where I'm beginning with. So, I'm learning everything for the first time.
We got you.
He doesn't learn fast. All right, just take it from Brian. So, first thing we got to talk about with the actual Red Sox team, Eduardo Rodriguez is finally officially back. Which, thank God, because I wouldn't spend another year without that guy.
Yeah, I mean, just any guy, frankly, in the Red Sox rotation is just a boost from what we had last year, where it was just, I honestly thought that we would, only get 12 wins last year, and all of them were going to be Nathan Eovaldi's starts. I thought that was going to be our only 12 wins of the year after seeing how after seeing how game 2 against the Orioles went. I was like, all right, we're going to win all these starts, and then we're screwed for the rest. But with Erod coming back, hopefully that heart issue, I guess it was a thing from COVID, is no longer a problem for him. We're probably not going to be seeing Sale until the All-Star break, and it's likely that he won't be the same guy until probably next year.
Next year, yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, the thing with it really says something about where the Red Sox are when we're amped up for a guy who's been more of a number 3 starter in our rotation in past
my God,
years.
we're not going back to this. No,
And,
we've already talked about this.
It would be one thing to say, holy crap, Chris Sale's back and he's 100%. He's our number 1 starter now. But no, and don't get me wrong, I love Eduardo Rodriguez. It's just funny how we're like, oh my God, Eduardo Rodriguez is back. I love him, but I love him as a number 2. At his worst, number 3.
Okay. Can I say 2 things?
What?
First, Brian, Adam calls a dude who won 19 games in a regular season a number 3 guy at best. First of all, that was on the last show last week. He called Eduardo Rodriguez, a guy with 19 wins in a year, a number 3 guy.
It was a career year. Great year for him.
No, I mean,
and it's still number 3. All right. Second off, we're talking from what we had last year to now. Like Brian said, any sort of thing is an upgrade.
Yeah.
Right? Any sort of pitcher we get that has some sort of promise. So to see that we got a pitcher that is 10 times better than anything we saw last year, I'm going to take. All right? The next year, I expect to get some better pitchers than that.
Calm down.
It's a cycle.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I think that, isn't Rodriguez like a career 4 ERA pitcher? So I mean,
it's like a 3.6.
Okay, yeah.
Adam.
He can have his games where he's on, and then obviously you can have the reciprocal of that. But he's a great arm, and he's a great addition to this team. I mean, we missed him sorely last year, and frankly, just having him back in the rotation, it's going to be good to see.
Mm-hmm. No, I'm sorry, a career 4 at most times though. He's a 3.8.
Okay, yeah.
So yeah, you're right.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I can't wait to see. Do I think he's going to be 100%? No. Do I think he's going to be great? Come off rip? No. And to be honest, I don't really like the move of calling him an ace right now. I would rather see him as a number 4 guy. Let him just get back used to it. Let him be in there. Hey, this is coming off of injury. All right, you're talking about how 100% healthy Eduardo Rodriguez should be a 3.
You got Adam perking up immediately. I mean, you almost. Adam was like, is he validating my point? Oh my God.
No, not in the slightest. He's talking about a healthy Erod. I'm talking about an Erod who hasn't pitched a professional game in about 400 days.
Yeah. Robert, I told you prime Eduardo Rodriguez at his best is a number 2. I'm just saying that over his career he's been a number 3. I just don't think he's reached his full potential yet. And I think
you specifically said 19-win Erod is a number 3.
I did not say
that.
You are
did.
Twisting
yes,
my
you
words.
did. Go back and watch the last episode. You said exactly that, and that's why I got pissed at you, and we argued about that for like 20 minutes.
You're taking it out of context.
I will. How do I do?
It was a career
Ladies and
year.
gentlemen, I apologize for you having to listen to this.
Great year for Eduardo Rodriguez. Good job.
So I need to also ask,
number 3.
I need to also ask you guys, who is the leadoff hitter for this team? Out of everybody on the team, who is our leadoff hitter? Who do you guys think should be the leadoff hitter?
Honestly, I'm gonna go for it. I like Kike. Give me Kike in the leadoff spot. I mean, I know he's always kind of been, a guy who hits at the bottom of the order, But I mean, he's shown up to spring training so far, and he's had some pop in the bat. And I mean, frankly, I don't know where this Sox team is going this year. So we signed him. He was kind of one of the bigger free agent pickups we made this offseason. Let's see how it works out at the start of the season.
I'm tempted to say Verdugo, but I also want him more because he's one of your better hitters. I also want to say he should be towards the middle of the lineup. I'm pretty stumped on that one. I'd have to look at the lineup, but I mean, Kike is not a bad option either.
I can give you the basic projected lineup for what we're looking at. But before I do, I would say for me, yell at me if you want. I'd say Cordero, just because.
I hate that guy.
Just because of speed. Him. Just because of speed factor. This guy is always a threat to steal a base.
You and your Frenchie Cordero.
I like speed.
Belongs in the back of any major league lineup.
I like
that includes
speed.
the Red Sox.
I mean, if he's our 9 hitter, I'm okay with that. He's either our 1 hitter or a 9 hitter. I'm cool with either.
I'd rather just keep Andrew Benintendi at this point.
Yeah, terrible. We got 5 guys for Andrew Benintendi, and you're complaining.
Just getting bodies is one thing. But
when one of them makes it to the majors, I'll recognize.
One of them should within the next 2 years, and then the other 3 we don't know yet.
Yeah.
All right, so there.
Yeah, they might.
One of them's already made the major leagues.
They might be selling insurance in the next 3 years.
He'll be your mailman, Robert, and he'll be like,
"That's just
thanks for having faith in me, buddy."
Now you guys are just taking a massive you-know-what on a player's career. All right.
Oh, I'm not taking on the player's career. I'm taking on a Chaim Bloom.
Terrible.
You can have him in to interview you, Robert. You
both are terrible. All right. It's better than anyone you've interviewed, Adam.
Well, that's not a fair statement.
Whenever we find out one of those 3 guys or one of those 5 guys is just the next Nick Punto, I'll be real pumped to see it. So
hey, don't have any hate on Nick Punto, all right? That dude was good.
Nick Punto, I'm just saying, like,
one's gonna be the next Dave Ortiz. All right.
I just remember Nick Punto as the guy who came in to pinch run when Kevin Youkilis had his last at bat as a Red Sox.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I remember is Nick Punto for being.
He was a good third baseman. He was more of a defensive third baseman, or was he shortstop?
Yeah.
He was one of them.
He was a third base, I think, yeah.
Great. Yeah, I figured out what it is with Zoom. If you have any more than 3 or more people on, it's going to say your meeting time. So we got to get out in like 10 minutes and hop back in. But the projected lineup goes Kike Hernandez, Verdugo, Martinez, Bogarts, Devers, Renfroe, Marwin Gonzalez, Vasquez, Dahlbeck. So 2 names we don't even see are A, the guy we traded for Andrew Benintendi, and B, Michael Chavis. Now there's MIA. They're gone.
See, the projections don't even like
Chavis
Frenchie
is kind
Cordero.
Yeah. I mean, Chavis has kind of been getting screwed lately. I don't know if you've been seeing all the stuff that's been happening with him, but he's kind of just been really getting, just kind of, buried with all the guys that Chaim's been bringing in, like Gonzalez and all these other guys. Even Kike too. Like where's Chavis going to play? Is the Ice Horse ever going to see some time again? I don't. It's it looks like Chaim sees something in him that he doesn't like, and he's probably just trying to bury him at this point. It's weird.
I mean, I don't see any other reason besides that just Chaim sees something that he doesn't like, or Cora sees something that he doesn't like, and it's just they see some.
I don't know if it'd be Cora because I mean, he was here when he played in 2019 when Cora was on the team and he got some decent time then.
But
so,
he had great rookie numbers off then. He was killing it at bat. And then last year it was just no bueno.
I mean, but again, I'm chalking everything up last year to anything no bueno up to it just being a COVID year. I'm not putting anything on last year's stats. They are, in my mind, they are thrown out the window. I am not looking at them at all. They are not a sign of anything. Last year was a glorified Little League World Series. It was just good to have something.
So Mookie didn't really win a championship.
No, I'm gonna say he won the championship because I want Red Sox ownership to feel it, but everything else basically just didn't count.
Okay, sure, we'll say that makes sense. But everything else about that lineup,
It doesn't. I know it doesn't. But I'm a hypocritical individual. But
aren't we all?
I want Red Sox. I want Red Sox management to feel it. So I don't care.
Yeah, here's the thing. Out of the guys that I said, do you guys have any other things that you're kind of confused about with this lineup? The one thing I would say is Dahlbeck batting 8th or 9th. Dahlbeck batting 9th, I don't like. I would honestly rather him bat 6th. Like right behind Bogart or right behind Devers. And have probably Renfroe bat 9th.
Yeah. I mean, Bobby Dahlbeck is built like that. Is built like, like that player coach on that summer league team that just comes out every now and then and just absolutely, hit and absolutely just bombs a ball over the fence. He's just built like the old player coach kind of kid. And, will that translate to him being an effective first baseman at the major league level? We'll have to see if that actually will lead to that. But it definitely will be an interesting situation with him. I hope that he succeeds. I remember seeing him in Double-A and he was a stud there. So I hope it translates.
I wish some of these guys I could have gone and seen in like Portland or in Pawtucket.
Oh yeah.
I wish.
Call me crazy with
I got to see him.
Rafael Devers, but would you say you would rather see him? Do you think he's set at number 5, or would you rather see him towards like the front at like the 3 or 4 spot?
I mean, in all honesty, with numbers 2 through 6, I would say they're all interchangeable besides JD at 3. If you were to put Verdugo as a cleanup hitter, I wouldn't mind testing that out for a couple games, see how that worked, see if he could get hot. I wouldn't mind it. Anything besides JD switching from 3, JD stays at 3. Anything else 2 through 6.
I just think Bogarts and Verdugo are those two like speedy guys who are also good hitters who you'd want to put in like 2nd and 3rd. So maybe you put Devers because I mean he's kind of fast, but he's also more of like his main. He's kind of he's a little bit of a power hitter if you want to, and I mean you could put him in at 4th, and then maybe you have Dahlbeck at 5. And maybe or Martinez. I mean, it is a very interchangeable. It's a very opinionated thing because, like, I mean, you really can't be wrong at this point.
Yeah, it's just experimenting what works, seeing what guys feel more comfortable in what spots. Yeah.
Got to throw something against the wall and see what sticks.
All right, we got to end the recording real quick, and then we'll be right back with the next segment. All right, so next, what we got to talk about. I tried to warn everyone. Come 3 months ago, right? I said this guy is going to come in here and he is going to help this team's pitching rotation drastically. A lot of people didn't listen, right? Garrett Whitlock has come in so far and has had himself a spring training.
Yeah, the kid's been off the wall. I mean, he is really just shown out this spring training. I mean, his stuff's incredible.
He's been killing it.
Yeah.
I don't know how he's been doing it, but I am not going to complain at all.
I'm not. I will gladly take that.
Because, like I said, when I was doing the interview with him, right, the one answer that stuck out with him was he's like, I'm not going to be a guy that's going to come out here and really be a face. I'm going to sit here, I'm going to put my head down, and I'm going to put the work in.
Yeah.
And so far, that's exactly what he's done. He's had, 9 innings pitched, a 1 ERA, 1 earned run. How many strikeouts? I lost him. How many strikeouts do they have? 12. 12 strikeouts with a .89 whip.
I mean, Rob, you're at least 1 for 1 now, or 1 for whatever now on Sox prospects being on your show. Doing well at the somewhat major league level. Now you just got to see what Zachary Bryant does. Yeah,
if I can get Zach Bryant to actually do something with this team, then I got 2.
Yeah, you should honestly have Garrett Whitlock just pull up in some Pesky Pole merch and just
send him the merch.
Yeah, dude, why not?
I should, because I've kept in contact with him since the interview. So he's a
business idea.
Hell,
Yeah.
go for it.
Be like, yo, you want some merch? If I send you some merch,
It's all about that marketing, baby.
it's all about the marketing. Exactly. Like I said, I told Zach. Was this the episode I was with you? No.
No, it was the episode before. He was on the very next episode.
Yes. So while he was on the show, right, Adam and I were talking to him, and he said, "Hey, this was after we finished recording. He says, "Hey, I just got a DM from Jared Carabas asking me to be on the show." I'm like, "Boy, you better go on that show and do me a huge favor and mention this podcast."
Did he?
Nope. I got scammed.
Yep. You got scammed there, dude. Oh, that sucks.
I was upset, but what are you gonna do? You know.
Right. What are you gonna do?
Exactly. So instead, Section 10 posted this picture of one of his responses that said his favorite player while I was growing up, and it was Craig Kimbrell. Right, which Red Sox Craig Kimbrell was great.
Oh, he was.
We're
awesome.
not gonna talk about Cubs Craig Kimbrell. Two different things.
What about Braves Craig Kimbrell?
Braves Craig Kimbrell was also something great.
Yeah.
We just won't talk about the Cubs.
I mean, as soon as he shaved his beard, it was over.
Yeah. The Cubs is where you go to kill your career.
Yeah, it's where Red Sox.
Just ask Josh Osich.
Yeah, it's where It's where most Red Sox careers go to die. Koji unfortunately, fizzled out there. John Lester had himself a pretty,
Lester was okay.
He had himself a good 7-year run there.
Where's he at? Nationals now?
Yeah, he's on the Nationals.
Yeah.
That is. I don't know why we couldn't have just brought him back. Had it been, had a fun kind of reunion.
Didn't Lackey have a decent career there as well?
Lackey wasn't anywhere near where he was in Boston.
He kind of was just like you would say, Adam. He was just a body. Like he just kind of was there. I mean, he had some good starts here and there, but it was not what he was in Boston at all.
Yeah, like Josh Osich is going to go there, and his career died there. He's not getting signed by anyone else. Robert Stock's going to go there. His career is going to die.
Yep. I mean, one Red Sox one Red Sox player who went there and had a pretty solid end of their career, you could 100% say was David Ross.
Ross
homered in his final game of that incredible 2016 World Series Game 7. For that, it's me. Between that with me, there's like one other game that I would say is it was the game where Austin Jackson flipped in the bullpen. I talked about it on this show earlier. I would say it's either that game or Game 7 of the 2016 World Series was one of the best baseball games I ever saw, just because of how electric it was and how back and forth it was. And the thing that is also really cool about both of those games is that you get to see multiple stars going through the motions and not going through the motions, but multiple stars performing at that level in a game, which is really cool to see.
Mm-hmm.
So, you got to see John Lester, you got to see David Ross homer, and you got to see all this cool stuff happen. And it's just the collection of all that made that Game 7 so awesome. So David Ross had a very good end by being a part of that game. But yeah.
Does Anthony Rizzo count?
No.
Minor.
His career didn't die.
Yeah, he came to life.
Yes, his career came to life. We didn't have him long enough to actually make him prosper here, then to go die there.
Yeah.
No, we didn't even trade him to the Cubs. We traded him to the Padres.
Then they traded him to the Cubs.
We got Adrian Gonzalez.
Did jack squat for us too. What a terrible.
He is what you call a body. All right, he was just there.
I mean, I love myself some Agon in Boston for the time that it was there. I mean, once he got shipped out the door to L.A. and then we had to deal with guys like Mario Gomez and James Loney, that's when I knew we were in a tough spot.
Mm-hmm. All right, here's what I'm gonna say. All right, because I'm curious to what you guys are gonna say. Give me a random Red Sox player from 2000 to 2010, or like 2000 to 2015. I'll say.
All right, I got one. Pedro Ceriaco.
Oh, I know that. Where do I know that name from?
2013 Red Sox started off pretty good. Was a platoon guy. Got shipped off to the Padres, and he was a pretty solid piece for them. But just sent him out the door.
Mm-hmm. Adam.
Jemile Weeks.
Jemile Weeks.
That's a good one.
I have never heard that name.
You've never heard of Jemile Weeks? 2014. All around second baseman. Used to play with the Brewers.
Speedster.
Yeah, real speedster.
I don't know why I can't remember that name at all.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say just random names, and Adam loves this name, Ryan Dempster.
Mm. I was about to say Felix Dubron or Ryan Lavarnway.
Ryan LaVarn Way. Oh, that's a name.
That is
No.
that is one of those guys that you remember.
Mhm.
I don't know why, but it just is.
How about John Damon?
How about Jonathan Diaz?
Oh, jeez.
Johnny Gomes.
If you want me to go back and forth with you on random Red Sox players, I'm able to do it pretty well from 2013 on. That's when I really was able to start engaging with the team. If you want me to go for random guys, I can get pretty random.
I mean, because we're all just 20 to 22 years old, right? So 2013, we were like 12 to 14.
Yeah.
Right. That's when we really started to get into knowing names and stuff.
Yep.
But let me see. Oh, Adam was hating on Mike Lowell in the last episode.
I did not hate.
How do you
him.
hate on Mike Lowell?
What did I say?
How do you hate on Mike Lowell?
What did I say?
What the hell is wrong with you?
What did I say? I want to know what I said.
We were talking about some player, and then I compared him to Mike Lowell, and you're like, no, none of
I said no. It was the other way around. I was saying it was more trashing on the player you were comparing him to.
Who was I comparing him to?
I completely forgot, but I was saying
Was it
don't
Devers?
compare this guy to Mike. No,
it was Bobby Dahlbeck,
Exactly.
and I
You
didn't
don't
really
even know if he's gonna pan out yet, and you're like, oh, Mike Lowell,
He's Mike
the World
I
Series
didn't mean
MVP.
It was just the name that popped off the top of my head.
Stop with the slander,
It
Rob.
was a white corner infielder. All right, they have that in common. Good enough.
I mean, yeah, he's from Boston, so you can also. That's a pretty easy. White corner infielder. You want to, really make it specific. And you're gonna get that really.
You know who else is a corner infielder? Will Middlebrooks.
Oh, ew.
We have that in common, don't they?
No.
Are we gonna compare those two, Robert?
No, because
Are we
Will
gonna
Middlebrooks
compare?
sucks.
Are we gonna compare Mike Carp, the first baseman, the corner infielder, Mike Carp?
Yeah. Oh yeah, he was on the 2013 team.
Yeah.
I mean,
I remember that name.
2014.
one other random Red Sox player, Quentin Berry.
Quentin Berry.
Oh, my
the
God.
outfielder.
Oh no.
Gotcha.
Ew.
Yeah.
Gross. Who am I thinking of? There's one guy. Oh, Pokey Reese. You don't remember that name?
Yeah. Well, I mean, he was he had the
Pokey
ground
Reese
ball-
was the young Dustin Pedroia before Dustin Pedroia,
Well, he had the ground ball that.
but with the name of Coco
Yeah. Well, he had the ground
or
ball.
Pokey.
Sorry. Well, he had the ground ball that completed the 4 days in October for the Red Sox.
Mm-hmm.
It was his final play that sent them to the World Series.
Yes. Pokey Reese. Beautiful man. Pokey Reese, Coco Crisp, Johnny Damon. That was a squad.
Yeah, and Johnny Damon's having some fun right now. You saw all that happen.
He's in a prison cell because he's a big
Yeah.
boy.
Yeah,
Don't forget, Adam. He is a big boy.
He's a big man,
Love Johnny.
big guy. That's what I call Doug. That's what I call my dog, a big boy, big man. He's on the level of my dog right now.
Yeah.
So, going back to what we were actually talking about, Garrett Whitlock,
Right. We gotta remember this kid's only 24. He's making his MLB debut within the next couple weeks. But one of his teammates, Evaldi,
said, the first time I saw him throw in spring training, it was early in camp, and I was impressed. He's got a great changeup. He's got great command. He's quiet. He's very focused and determined to be part of this team. He's doing everything he can. He's going about his business the right way, so I'm not surprised with what he's been able to do out there on the field, just because of the way he's been handling himself in and around the clubhouse and out there in the bullpen. So he's kind of our secret weapon.
I mean, you gotta love that.
which, like I said, he told that exactly to me, and to see that being portrayed 3 months later, then
that's
what,
awesome.
what he said in the interview is gold.
Yeah.
Like, he's just saying, look, I'm not going to come out here. I'm going to be a face. I'm going to keep my head down. I know what I have to do. It's not about being publicity. It's not about doing this. It's about putting in the work and making sure I'm a good part of this team.
Yeah, I mean, guess what? The people of Boston, at least the diehard baseball fans will respect that. As if you're coming out there and you're grinding like that, they'll appreciate that a lot more than the guy who's coming out there is all flashy and then is getting lit up every other day.
Yeah, because that dude will be out of Boston within 6 months.
Yeah, he will not have a pleasant time.
Mm-hmm. We expect, here in Boston, we love having our faces that are those guys who really pump to the crowd. You know, you're Alex Verdugo, but we expect perfection more than we do a nice face.
Yeah.
Verdugo gives us both. 300 hitter. He's going to be something great, but he's also that face that's willing to pump up a crowd. I can't wait to see him in Fenway with actual fans.
Yeah, that'd be.
He's going to be loving life. But along with that, we have guys like Whitlock now who are just going to keep their head down. They're going to do what they got to do.
I mean, hell, that's all you can hope for.
Yep. We're going to, Adam, you and I are going to go to one of the games. We're going to sit in center field by the bullpen. We're just going to say, we're going to just be like, what's up?
We'll have to go to 3 of us and just do like a live stream, just the 3 of us. The three amigos and the 3 hosts, and going to a Red Sox game. We go to the Cask and Flagon.
Oh, jeez.
We can't live stream it. That's a little illegal, but you know.
Yeah. Emma,
we live stream ourselves, but we're not.
That's why Dodger Films is no longer a thing.
Oh, I remember that.
Oh, that paid. Why did that bring back so many memories?
Yeah. That's because MLB likes to be the not gonna use profanities on this show, but because MLB is the way they are, that's why Dodger Films is no longer a thing, because he's no longer allowed to film the games, even though he was one of the big draws for your league. And unfortunately, you guys, we're not gonna be able to be in the stands live streaming the Red Sox game because might get demonetized or arrested. So
I got one copyright strike already on like my 6th episode.
What did you do?
We were ranking outfielders. No, it was my 10th episode. We were ranking our top 20 first basemen, and I was literally just showing like a quick 10-second highlight clip of each guy we were putting in, and they hit me on it.
Leave it to
YouTube sucks, man. YouTube sucks.
Leave it to the MLB to just ruin anything good that happens to them. They're just so bad at marketing their players, and anything good that happens to them, they have to do something like that.
Yeah.
You would think they would have, after so many years of this sport dying out, that they would actually like take a look in the mirror and be like, okay, we need to get our asses moving. Sorry for the profanity, but like,
it's okay. It's okay. It can make it on. That can set. You can usually say that on the radio and be okay. So you're good, Robert.
Yeah,
no, I have to edit that out now.
Why?
Because I make this a family-friendly podcast.
This is
all right. Section 10 is not family-friendly.
You get my point.
Go figure.
Just don't change the net.
Fine.
You get my point.
I'll keep it in. I'll just have to mark it as expletive.
Get their butts moving and actually do something. Because I used to be one of the biggest MLB fans out there. I used to know the league inside and out. There's a reason why I'm able to name these random Red Sox players, because I used to know the league very well back then. Now it's one of those things where I'm like, damn, I really don't pay enough attention to the Red Sox, but it's like I want to get back into it, but I also don't want to.
Yeah.
It's like, and it's kind of sad.
No, I mean, I said it on my show plenty of times. The MLB, and I was almost scared that the NFL was going to fall in this bubble. Luckily, they have enough players that they're able to support. But the MLB clearly suffers from Mike Trout syndrome, where he is the only guy that they know how to effectively market. And it gets to the point where it's almost just like nauseating the amount of marketing you see from Mike Trout. He's a great guy for the community, great player. Nothing on Mike Trout, but he's the only guy that MLB actually knows how to market. I mean, Tatis is starting to get in the mix a little bit now, which is awesome to see. But like they don't know how to like. If
he's also a robot.
Yeah.
Oh, he's a robot for sure. But if you went and asked like an average NBA fan who Mike Trout is, they're gonna have an idea. If you went and asked who Francisco Lindor is, they're gonna be like, who? I have no idea who that is. And like same thing with all these other players. Like if you ask who Pete Alonso is, who all these other like a bunch of different guys, they would have no idea who these players are. Whereas you might ask some random baseball fan, hey, do you know who Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is? And they'll be like, oh yeah, that's that shooting guard for the Oklahoma City Thunder, played with was an integral part of OKC's playoff run last year. And like some people will be able to pull that out. You're not gonna be able to pull that out with with MLB guys. It's just not a thing.
Yeah. And here's the thing with what we were talking about, right? I went and I looked back at the video, right? It got copyrighted by the MLB, okay? For one part, that was a less than 25-second highlight of Freddie Freeman, okay? This video had 7 views.
MLB, I mean...
What's the point at that point? 7 people saw it.
That's ridiculous.
They're prioritizing the wrong thing.
No, I mean, you want to get that stuff out there, and I'm pretty sure, like you said, it was like 20 seconds. I'm pretty sure that's within the fair use policy.
It was 25, yeah.
Yeah, still, I think that's within the fair use policy. It's like what you can get like 30 seconds to a minute or something, and still be like okay. Like that's ridiculous, man.
I can't with it sometimes, but
it's MLB, it's baseball advanced media, which for short BAM. You know, I remember I talked about this. The way they lock up content, it's like I said this a while back. It makes you a lot of money up front by locking up this content and prioritizing it to certain people, but you lose an entire generation of fans. You completely cut off the younger generation. They're going to be like, oh well, if I can't access this stuff and I can't see it, well, why the heck am I going to watch it?
Yeah, because there's so many people also who are. We get a lot of our news through YouTube, right? Yeah. Which is kind of sad, but it's the way it is. We get a lot of our news through YouTube, but there are a lot of younger fans out there who aren't subscribed to the MLB channel, but will get their news through other MLB content creators. Like there's this one guy I follow. His YouTube name is Fuzzy or something like that.
Okay.
Great MLB guy, right? Has plenty of MLB knowledge, brings a lot of MLB news, but he can't show any clips because he's going to get demonetized. He can't show any of these players. All he can do is talk about them. Mm-hmm. But let's get on to the final topic real quick. Lindor came out and he was a little and he started complaining about the shift. All right, what do we think about the shift? Should we ban the shift? Should we modify the shift, or should we allow MLB teams to do what they please? Adam, you first.
See, it's one of those things where I think the shift kind of does take away from a little bit in baseball, where it's just like some balls that are hit would normally be base hits or would be tough plays for infielders are like routine because players aren't where they're supposed to be, and it takes away from that a little bit. But so I'm not a huge fan of the shift, but at the same time, I feel like teams should be able to do whatever the hell they want, because that's part of baseball. But I understand what they're trying to do, where they're trying to sort of fix the game of baseball. They're making some sort of an effort, which I do appreciate. But it's a really tough thing. I mean, you can look at it in two different ways. But I think I kind of like it, but I'm not sure. What do you think, Brian?
I mean, listen, I got to take the opposite opinion on this. I mean, for all of baseball's success, the shift has dated back forever now. I mean, there was literally a shift called the Ted Williams shift, and it was a way that, teams would play against Ted Williams at the plate. Mm-hmm. So the shift at this point in baseball has been around forever, and it's been through baseball's glory days where, and even through their second resurgence in the 90s during the home run race and all that kind of stuff. Like, the shift has been there, and it's been a thing. From what I've seen, it's more the shift on lefties that I'm seeing is, what they're trying to get rid of. Shifts on righties, it happens, but, it's not the most common thing. I mean, it's common, but, nobody's really complaining about it. They mostly complain about the fact that all the infielders are between first and second base.
So it's been along for a long time, but do you think it's maybe been overused in recent years, where to the point where teams are just leaning on it? Or do you think it's more of a, just like, it's been here and it hasn't been, just kind of been there.
I mean, listen, teams and players, like, they're going to try to do whatever they can to make it work. I mean, I remember in 2015, the Red Sox, Mookie Betts, his entire career throughout the minors was a second baseman. I remember we were playing the Twins, and they brought Mookie out of, center or right field. They brought him in, got him his infield glove, and he, played straight up on second base, to try to make a play at the plate. And I think it was Max Kepler. He just lifted a ball to center where he wasn't, and the Twins won the game. Another play I think about, too, was also against the Red Sox. It was Yankees-Red Sox. Robinson Cano was at the plate in 2013, and wide open, what does he do? He just drops one down, gets a double out of it. And you know what? As a Red Sox fan, I'm obviously never going to root for the Yankees, but I'm just like, yes, thank you. Someone actually exposes it. And I'm just like, guess what, Joey Gallo? You don't need to be a pinpoint guy. It's not a suicide squeeze attempt where if you put it in where if you put it a foot off the plate, or a foot off where it needs to be, you're in trouble. You could, with the amount of square footage that you have with these infielders not here, you either need to beat out some, old fat pitcher, that's going for the ball, or a catcher in all that catcher's gear. just get it in the general vicinity by dropping it down, and you're going to be on first base. And, while it may not be the flashiest thing for you, do that 3 times, and other players are going to go, hey, maybe we shouldn't shift to get against this guy because he's not afraid to get chippy with it and just drop one down to get on. And guess what? I feel like that in your clubhouse gains a lot more respect because it's going, hey, this guy isn't just trying to, hit the ball out of here. He's actually willing to get on base any way he can. I respect that a lot. And I mean, the fact that, some of these guys aren't willing to do it and they're just stubborn and they're still just hitting into this thing. And it's like, dude, the answer's right there. You don't need to force it out over the plate. You're in the major leagues. You don't need to be, a king at it, and you don't need to be amazing at it. But, for the longest time, we were taught how to bunt. I would have to assume these guys have to have at least some skill at it because, God forbid a situation comes up where they need to do it. They're going to have to do it. They just got to, either drop it down or just send it the other way. Like, the answer is there, and it's just so frustrating. If you do it enough, then the shift, becomes less and less of a problem for these guys.
Yes. All right. Let me say this. Okay. When I was going through high school, especially my senior year, teams would apply the shift on me because I'm a lefty, right? They would apply a bigger shift to the point where the shortstop would almost be at second base, right? But the third baseman would stay in right where he's supposed to be because I'm a speed threat and I can bunt. So third baseman would be in, and short would be basically at second. Second would be there, and first would be where they're usually supposed to be. I'm like, okay, there are a lot of weaknesses to here. You are exposing a lot of things by playing in this position. So what did I do? I waited on pitches till I got a pitch that was mid to outside, and bam, I just took that pitch right to where the shortstop was supposed to be. Literally every time. And I wasn't hitting it far, just be ground outs.
Yeah.
Right? Then teams started catching up on that. Teams started scouting on me. And so they would pull a reverse shift on me to the point where the second baseman would be behind second base or like on second base. Shortstop would be playing over and deep, and the third baseman would be playing bunt defense.
Okay, I got to ask about this. Seriously, where did you go to high school? Like,
I went to a very small high school up in Maine called St. Dom's High School.
Up in Maine. I don't know what is happening with other states in New England when it comes to baseball. I talked to my friend Tyler on Wednesday's show about this, and he said, yeah, I was in Connecticut, and like, yeah, they put the shift on me. I was like, they're putting the shift on you in like JV in high school, and he's like, yeah, I'm just like that never happened.
Yep.
Like,
no varsity.
Yeah, we never had a shift either.
We never had lefties shift against. We never had that. That's actually ridiculous that you're seeing it at that level.
Every single at bat.
I mean, I saw it. I mean, you saw it in the outfield. You always saw outfield shifts be a thing. But like infield, they always just assumed, hey, it's high school, and if the guy's pitching fast enough, it may get sprayed out the opposite way. So we always just kind of played it mostly straight up. Obviously, you had the double play defenses, corners in, different things like that. But in terms of really moving the guy over, we never did that. Like, that's actually crazy. Like,
no, especially after like 4 games or something. I was batting like 700 through the first 4 games, and teams would literally have somebody scout our games, or they would text or they would message the opposing coach about me specifically. And coaches would tell my coach about that. Like, yeah, we're talking about this kid. We want to know how to stop him. And so they tried all these shifts. Once they went into the reverse shift, I still remember it was like the 6th game of the season. That team went to the reverse shift. I stepped out for a second, looked over at the coach, and he's just sitting there smiling at me. The other team's coach, he's smiling at me. I'm like, okay.
I'm just going to rip this thing.
So I go in, right, and I see bunt defense. And I'm like, boom, right over third baseman's head. If he was regular defense, he would have got it. Boom, somewhat of not really a bloop single. It was a line drive into left field. Boom, I'm on second base. Look back at him, he's still laughing. I'm like, you can't beat me. There are so many ways to fight the shift. If they're playing that over to you, I have a simple solution. Learn how to hit a damn ground ball to where the third baseman's supposed to be. It is possible to control where the ball is supposed to be.
I mean, I can't. And this is part of the other problem that's going on with Major League Baseball right now, and it's because it's basically that the MLB is becoming 3 true outcome baseball at this point, where
Yeah.
you're either getting the K, you're either getting a home run, or it's a walk. That's the problem that we're seeing. Like, I hate to say it, guys, like you guys grew up like learning how to bunt. You grew up learning how to do this stuff. Guess what, Joey Gallo?
Fundamentals.
Like you don't even need to be the fastest guy. Like I'm not even joking here. Like David Ortiz, not no speed demon in our books, but like if he ever needed to, and like if he ever got good enough at it, he could even put one up in the air a little bit, get it over into the infield dirt, and he'd be able to get on first. Now
If you put it right where the third baseman's supposed to be or further, you're on first base.
Yes, at least. That's the thing that really just gets me.
Mm-hmm. No, 100%. And going back to what we were saying about where the MLB can say where you need to put your players, no, absolutely not. There are 9 guys on the field. 2 of them have a spot where they are specifically supposed to stand, and that is pitcher and catcher. Every other position.
Yeah, it's like telling an NFL team that you can only play man defense while simultaneously telling the opposing offense, hey, they can only play man defense.
Yeah, it's like saying, okay, every play you need to have 4 down linemen and you need to have at least 3 linebackers.
Another thing too I saw was the idea of them what was it? It was of them only having like one like shift that we typically see like this per game, and I'm just like 1 per game. Like,
no.
Like, why is this like?
Absolutely not. No. If I know somebody is more of a contact hitter and I want to take a risk by taking my right fielder, putting him in between second and first, having my second baseman shift closer to second base, and have 2 guys in the outfield, I should be damn well pleased to do that. You know why? Because that dude can put the ball 10 feet in the air and put it either down the line, up the middle, or down that way, and that is a triple.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's not that hard. There are only 9 guys and so much square footage to cover on any major league field that you can't shift without there being repercussions if the batter knows what he's doing.
Yeah. Another rule change that I have, very much been against, ever since I've heard about it, has been the pitch clock. I'm not a fan of the pitch clock. I don't think that it really, I don't really think that it would be as effective, and I think it'd be a detriment on guys. I've talked about it before. Guys like Mariano Rivera, who would hold the ball on guys, and the art of holding the ball, when there are runners on base, to kind of deceive them and maybe deter them from stealing. One kind of exception I kind of heard to the rule was the idea of possibly doing it of only doing a pitch clock when there's no runners on base. What would your thoughts be on something like that when it's empty bases?
I'm fine with that because especially when there are more pressured situations like that, when there are runners on the bases, you need to give the pitcher time. It's a chess match. 90% of the game is up here. You need to let the pitcher think, what's the best move for me to play against them? And yes, chess has a clock, but it's enough time for the players to still be able to say, okay, what's my best move?
Yeah. So I think the idea of maybe having like a 20-second or 18-second pitch clock while there's nobody on base, while it's David Price just in his windup, just standing there and doing whatever. If you want to, maybe speed up the game in that aspect, I actually don't hate that as much. Maybe I don't want to see the graphic of it on TV saying he only has 10 seconds to pitch it. If it becomes a thing where if he ends up breaking the rule, just have the umpire signal time and then do that. But if it's not taking away from what's happening, I don't mind it. Have there be a warning first where it's like, hey, you went over, can't do that again, otherwise there's going to be a penalty or whatever for it.
Yeah, or just an automatic ball or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. So if there's runners on base, don't like to see it because that does take away from the strategy of the game. But in that dead time of where the guy's just in the windup, I think there could be an advantage to adding that in.
Yeah, 100%. All right, we're running out of time. Zoom is cutting us off once again soon. So before we get off, though, I do got to ask you guys, give me one good thing that has happened this week. Adam, what's one good thing?
Patriots, baby.
Woo!
We're armoring up.
Love to see
Superman
it.
Cam.
Hunter Henry, Jonnu Smith, killing it. Let's go.
Jalen Mills, Matthew Judon, Kendrick Bourne, Nelson Aguilar has proven he can somewhat catch. We happy.
Devon Godchow. Wait, who is that again?
If Cam can't win, I will say this: if Cam can't win with this roster,
make the playoffs.
The roster
make
being
the playoffs.
armed up, But yeah, to that standard.
Yeah.
If they can't at least make the playoffs, then Cam's
Get rid of
washed.
Cam.
We can confirm that Cam is washed. You see,
Yeah.
there's still some fanboys of Cam out there, or at least people who still have faith in Cam, who are kind of saying, okay, like things weren't great there, and I understand their point, but you also just have to take the eye test, I say. But I mean, I sure hope I'm wrong. If they roll with them and it works out, then we got ourselves a team here.
Yeah, the one caveat, the one saving grace for Cam that, possibly could, lead to having a better season is I've compared this recent shoulder injury, which I don't really know too much about with him. I've compared it to almost like a pitcher coming back from Tommy John, where I said with Sale early on the show that, it's likely that he's not going to look like the Chris Sale that we've seen at least until 2022. I'm hopeful that maybe last year was, Cam hopefully just shaking off the rust, and now that his shoulders, maybe fully healed and whatnot, he can actually get out there and sling it for real. But I have my doubts, frankly. I think it's going to be rough. I mean, you got some better targets this year, Cam, so the excuses are gone. And if you can't do it after this, I'm not giving you another grace year. So that's where I'm with on that.
100%. All right. What's yours? Good thing that happened this week.
Yeah, so actually there was something really cool that I saw. So, if anyone's ever, watched us on Down to the Wire, for most people when they got introduced to the show, a large majority at least, it was through this thing we did called the quarantine special, which happened right like a month into COVID. We did a Facebook live stream where we had like a bunch of guests on. It was like this really cool event, and I was like, oh, that was a cool event we were able to do. But we did like record like 7 or so episodes beforehand, but we were just like talking to the radio, and we thought that those episodes were gone forever. And it was kind of like, man, it would have been really cool to see like our first couple of episodes and see how we sounded. Well, luckily we were able to actually go into the archives, and we were able to recover 5 of the 7 of our first ever episodes, including our first episode, and we're releasing them in a audio miniseries on Spotify called the Down to the Wire Lost Tapes. We have released 4 of the 5 so far. The 5th one will be coming out on Sunday. But it's just been really cool to look back and kind of see how much I've grown and how much my fellow co-hosts have grown on the podcast. It's been really cool. We did another show on Friday where I interviewed student government presidential candidate Bryant Brown. Great guy. I recommend you check out that podcast. We got some great episodes coming up through the week. I'm hoping to get some more guests on the show, just some friends, and hopefully get some athletes in there too. It's been a really good week, man. What about you?
For me, I wouldn't necessarily say this is good, but we got to talk a little bit about March Madness.
Oh, 100%.
Right? Usually I'm very, very good with brackets. Mm-hmm. Usually, like I picked when UMBC beat Villanova. Right? I picked, was it for Villanova or Virginia? One of those two. I picked that. I picked the wrong 15 seed. I picked Cleveland State, not Oral Roberts. And I picked Tennessee going to the Elite Eight. My bracket is so far gone, it's up in flames right now.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, listen, I did this on Wednesday show. Now, while I'm a very big Villanova basketball fan, I actually have some family ties with them, but I don't have a hat for them, so all I can say is go blue. Go Michigan, go Wolverines. They are my guys in football. Hopefully they can get some of the stuff done here in March. But go Nova, go blue. Hopefully those guys can go far in the tournament. I'd love to see one of them get the chip. And just being a Michigan fan, the one time I need Ohio State to win, they pull a Michigan on me and they lose in a very upsetting fashion. It's ridiculous.
It was so bad. The wide open 3 to tie the game, to send it to double OT, to clanks the shot. That's ridiculous. I can't even say anything bad because it's only a college kid. No one knows who that college kid is, but that's all he's known for right now. That's going to haunt over him for at least a year now. It's upset.
Don't kill him like that, man.
Yeah, exactly. He's going to get killed like that by any Ohio State fan. But before we go, Adam, Brian, do you guys got anything you want to say to the people? It's really got like 3.5 minutes left.
Yeah, you go.
Happy St. Patty's Day, I guess. Late St. Patty's Day.
Adam definitely had his fair share of the Irish culture, we'll say. All right.
But I guess if there's anything I could say, it's that if you guys aren't following Down to the Wire at this point, I'm gonna give myself a little shout out. Hate to be
The self promo. I mean, you're on the show. You might as well.
shameless plug.
I do them all the time. Okay.
100%. But if you guys aren't following Down to the Wire at this point, you guys can make sure you guys follow us. We're on YouTube and Spotify. But the main way we post about all news regarding the show is through our Instagram. You can find us on Instagram at down.tothewire. We have a link tree that goes to all of the other platforms. So make sure you guys go there. Rob, I'll send it back to you to end things off.
All right. With that being said, God bless you guys. Thanks so much. Go follow these guys. Down to the Wire, which talks about everything sports, and obviously the Fumblerooski Podcast, which is a sister podcast of us in the Amateur Hour Sports Network.
Little sister.
Yes, little sister. All right. That's just weird to say. Actually, no. We won't say that. That's just weird.
This hazing is just never going to stop.
No, it isn't.
I need to get up there.
Once you get a professional athlete, we'll stop. Okay?
All right.
Doesn't even have to be just either D1 college athlete or, special teams man for like the Cincinnati Bengals. All
Jacksonville
right.
Jaguars.
Yeah, whatever you get. All right. That being said,
That's
we got
decided. I'm getting Tom Brady on. That's decided.
Happening.
With that being said, once again, thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you go check out the merch. Link will be in the description. Link will also be in the description for these two guys' shows. Roll that outro music. See you guys next time.
She's a pretty girl, got me feeling like I made it. You know I hold it down, yeah, I got it situated. I don't know how to say it, only miss you when I'm faded. Baby girl, that's no lie, no lie. She's a pretty girl, got me feeling like I made it. You know I hold it down, yeah, I got it situated. I don't know how to say it, only miss you when I'm faded. Baby girl, that's no lie, no lie. Yeah, girl, I know you a model, I know you feel entitled. Cause everybody gas you up, you like it full throttle. But that ain't how I'm moving, I'm not like these other men. Let's just make a movie, me and you, we keep it off the gram. I could really tell you how I'm feeling, but I think that we would be better off without revealing. I don't want you to take it up the wrong way, I won't make the wrong play. Baby, go and bust it down for me, yeah. She's a pretty girl, got me feeling like I made it. You know I hold it down, yeah, I got it situated. I don't know how to say it, only miss you when I'm faded. Baby girl, that's no lie, no lie. She's a pretty girl, got me feeling like I made it. You know I hold it down, yeah, I got it situated. I don't know how to say it, only miss you when I'm faded. Baby girl, that's no lie, no lie. Yeah, I put my trust in you, I paid in all my dues, but you be trying to tell me that it ain't enough for you. I know the deal, you be trying to make me feel like I got somebody else I'm giving my attention to. Baby, slow it down for me, just slow it down for me. Think about when I go out my way to hold it down for you. This ain't a forever thing, live it in a moment. I feel it every time when I wake up in the morning. I say, she's a pretty girl, got me feeling like I made it. You know I hold it down, yeah, I got it situated. I don't know how to say it, only miss you when I'm faded. Baby girl, that's no lie, no lie. She's a pretty girl, got me feeling like I made it. You know I hold it down, yeah, I got it situated. I don't know how to say it, only miss you when I'm faded. Baby girl,